Hey guys, it's Ashley. No introduction. This video is going to be really short and quick because the video that I just saw on YouTube on MsMojo on couples who are actually toxic has got me really tight. I think it was the top 10, it was the top 20. Now the other couples who were on there, I wasn't surprised that Chuck and Blair were on there because a lot of people don't like Chuck and Blair. Me personally, I am a Chuck and Blair stan. Yeah, they had a lot of their toxic moments, but to me, I feel like a lot of people tend to overlook the amount of times that Chuck and Blair were not together and how much they worked on themselves. Especially Chuck. I definitely feel like Chuck's character development is massively overlooked in the show. People tend to only look at the bad stuff that he's did, so they don't tend to look at the character development. Unlike a character like Damon from the Vampire Diaries, Damon never made any changes for himself unless someone literally had to hold his hand. Blair never had to hold Chuck's hand at all. When it came, Chuck was very ambitious. He knew how to get business together. The only thing Chuck really needed help on is his emotions. He had a tendency to keep detaching himself because he had a really bad traumatic home life. One of the things I tend to look at when I watch Gossip Girl is that a lot of the kids in this show were heavily traumatized, and I think that is a glimpsing reality when it comes to kids, especially children who are born to rich parents. They are often neglected because they really didn't raise their kids. A lot of the nannies and a lot of whoever the fuck they have in the houses do all the raising. Chuck was not raised by parents. Chuck was raised by nannies. Chuck did whatever the fuck Chuck wanted to do because Chuck had no guidance. So I feel bad for him, but yet that doesn't deteriorate or that doesn't overlook his actions. Who else is on there? There's a couple of shows I've never seen before. I was actually surprised that Dan and Serena were on the list. I didn't even care to hear her reasoning, but I'm just going to assume the reason why I didn't care to hear her reasoning is because it's just the same old things I hear all the time when it comes to these certain couples. The Dan and Serena one really took me for a loop because I honestly just feel like it's become very popular to hate Dan and Serena because a lot of people are Nate or Serena shippers, or a lot of people like Dare, which is yuck. Dan and Blair are the worst couple to ever come out of any fictional show. I mean that. Dan and Blair, to me, that will always simplify that Gossip Girl was running out of ideas. Putting them together really told me that they run out of ideas. There are people to this day, who will stand 10 toes down until they die on this planet, who will say that the writers teased them in episode 3 of season 1. There are people who are gonna look at you blue in the face and tell you that. When to me personally, that's just not true to me. Dan was all about Serena, and to me, if you ask me, literally the whole show. Dan was literally all about Serena, and then out of nowhere, he's just obsessed with Blair. And even in the whole Dan and Blair thing, people tend to really overlook a lot of the things that was weird about that situation. He made a whole book about the person that he wished Blair was. Like, man, I have another video coming up about Dan and Blair. There was a lot of things I feel like there were a lot of other things I wanted to say, but yet I didn't get a chance to say them. So don't worry, in the near future there will be another video about Dan and Blair. I just want to do my Secret Life of the American Teenager rants first, and then I want to do what you hear rants, and then there was rants about Vampire Diaries and Gossip Girl. So yeah, but Dan and Blair, I can do that whenever I feel like it, honestly. I can do that whenever I feel like it. But even like the whole Dan and Blair thing, I just thought it was cringe. They had no chemistry. I never saw it, never bought into it. Never, ever. Not with me, never. The couple that was on this list that really took me for a loop, that really pissed me off, was at number 19, Lucas and Peyton were on the list. And I definitely feel like ever since the podcast, it has become intensely popular to hate on Leyton. I feel like a lot of people who hate Leyton are people who don't understand their love story. There are people who don't understand their relationship. I feel like a lot of people tend to hate this relationship because people really love Brooke. Me personally, this is the last time I will ever, and when I fucking say this, that I will ever fucking address this right the fuck now. there's also gonna be other ones you hear rants to be talking about this, like specifically when it comes to love triangle. Will be making an updated version of my opinion on a love triangle. When it comes to this, Leyton, Lucas, and Peyton were already in game way before Brooke came into the picture. I don't understand what is so hard for anyone to understand about that. Lucas and Peyton were already feeling each other way before Brooke got into the picture. Lucas falling for Brooke made things 10 times more messy because her and Peyton were friends. And yet, what I continue to keep saying about this is that people can't wait to call out Lucas, call out Peyton, but yet Brooke was the one who went after the guy who knew that Brooke went after Lucas knowing that Peyton had full-blown feelings for him. But yet, that's not called out. She continuously went after him knowing that Peyton and Lucas had this undenying emotional connection that she couldn't compete with. But like, no one talks about that. Brooke was literally completely wrong for how she went about things, and I feel like a lot of people just don't tend to think about that they were all wrong in how they went about things. Now, the Lindsay situation, I didn't care about Lindsay. I didn't buy into that. I honestly feel like that dragged on for way too long. I don't know why Lucas wasted his time with that. But like I said in my last video I mentioned, with the Karen video, I mentioned Sign Rant. I feel like a lot of Lucas's pain and his trauma and everything with him is massively overlooked because he's a man. And I said this is a comparison I made. Lucas and Brooke have the exact same issues with rejection and parental abandonment, but yet Lucas is called out a lot for the way he does things, but Brooke isn't. Why? Because Lucas hurt a few people, Brooke hasn't hurt anyone. I just feel like people who hate Lucas and Peyton are people who don't understand the love story, people who don't understand the chemistry, people who don't understand any of it. To the fact that Hillary has the nerve to, it'll be moments when she will praise the relationship, and then there'll be moments when she will completely drag it. Like, people calling it a trauma bond and things like that, which to me, I just feel like it's just completely untrue. I feel like a trauma bond to me is when you only have that one connection, and that is just relying on a trauma you guys both have experienced, and that makes you completely codependent on someone. It's a big difference between Peyton being sad, because I also hear a lot of people saying that she was codependent on Lucas in season 5 by wanting to go back with him. Why? Because she missed him? Why? Because a big piece of her heart was missing without him? You never loved anything? People, and I just want to know, people in real life, have you ever loved anyone or loved anything that you feel like once it was gone, you just feel like a part of you died with it? You never felt that way about anybody? I just want to know, because unless you're a full-blown serial killer, then I'm pretty sure you felt the way Peyton felt. I mean, I never loved anyone, well, not a boyfriend-wise. I never loved anyone the way Peyton has loved a guy, but I know what it's like to lose somebody and feel like you lost a piece of yourself because you lost them. I just feel like that's just such an absurd take to have. Everyone who thinks that Lucas should have ended up with Brooke and all that absurdity, I just think that's absurd. I just don't think Brooke was a real convincing love interest for me, because I just feel like her and Lucas were never going to work. No matter how many times they could have met, Lucas and Brooke could have been together the whole show. It would have never worked. As for Peyton and Jake, I feel like that was also very not as surface level as Brooke and Lucas. I think Brooke and Lucas were hella surface level. Peyton and Jake, I don't think it was surface level. I just feel like the reason, I feel like a lot of people who just want them to be in game are people who just don't understand Leyton. I feel like that's the majority of what it's coming from. I don't even think it's about genuinely liking them. The people who like Leyton are the people who really ship it, and the full-blown people who ship them are the ones who understand the love story. Listen, I said this plenty of times, like, the way they went at things wasn't cool. Like, I'll admit that. them using cheating as a storyline to Lucas, I just don't understand what was the point. And I could also understand people saying that them doing the same thing in season 5 is making them seem like they haven't learned from their last actions. I completely understand that. But yet, the reason why I tend to run my eyes to that is because when it comes to other characters, people tend to make excuses for it. Hella excuses for it. When it comes to other characters, people tend to make excuses. If this would have been, I mean, I didn't see anyone tend to. Here's a good example: The Summer I Turned Pretty. And the episode that came on last week, a lot of people were rooting for Belly to cheat on Jeremiah, her fiance. But when I say I don't care about Lucas cheating on Lindsay, I'm a terrible person. Y'all see, y'all opinions like that don't hold no weight. Everyone believes that Belly and Conrad is this love story, right? And yet they the ones who should be together, right? So that people don't mind them hooking up. Well, me personally, I always feel like Leyton was the love story. It was the endgame ship of One Tree Hill. So to me, I felt like let's get these filler relationships out of the way and focus on what matters. And what matters is Leyton. I really was not connected to Lucas and Brooke as much as other people were. I mean, I thought him and Sophie had great chemistry. Don't take nothing away from there. Her and Lucas had their cute moments, but as a couple, they were very dry. Peyton and Jake, I thought they were really cute. I don't love them. I like them together. I thought they were really cute. I thought they had really cute moments. But me personally, I feel like the relationship was also very kind of, it wasn't as dry as Lucas and Brooke. I just felt like the relationship was never going to go anywhere. It was never going to reach the levels that people desperately wanted it to reach. Jake had way too much going on, and that, if things were different, they would have to sell me cold-heartedly that Jake was convincing enough to be a love interest. First of all, he wasn't even he was a secondary character that they just completely wrote off the show after season 2. Like, they pretty much just said his story is done. So at this point, it's like that's just focused back on Leyton. Me personally, I feel like looking back on One Tree Hill, I wish they would have had just wrote the story differently. I don't hate the story that they wrote originally for the love triangle. I would have wrote it differently. This is what I would have done. I mentioned this before, and I'm going to also mention it again in my future love triangle video, so stay updated. What I would have done in season 1 is that I would have done, me personally, I would have started the love triangle in, no, let's keep it in season 1, okay? Peyton don't want nothing to do with Lucas because she's been traumatized her whole life, so she's afraid to let people in and to depend on them, because people that she always end up caring about or depending on who are close to her, always something bad always happens. They always end up dying, going far away, and she always ends up alone, which is a natural reaction for someone who's been hurt. I understand that. Lucas starts dating Brooke. We keep the storyline the same in season 1. Cheating, all that, keep it. But I feel like, to me, I would have called out every single one of them for what they did. Brooke was wrong for going after Lucas, knowing how Peyton felt. Peyton was wrong for all of just wanting Lucas now, even though she didn't even know that he hooked up with Brooke. It was just bad timing. Think back at that. That was all bad timing. She had no idea that he was hooking up. That she knew that Brooke was interested, but she didn't know that they were gonna like be a couple. She thought it was gonna be like a random hookup. But apparently Brooke wanted a real relationship. She was wrong for, I would say, trying to get with Lucas, now trying to reveal all these feelings that she had in the beginning, now that he's with Brooke. It just made things 10 times messier, and Lucas was wrong for going behind Brooke's back when he should have just broken up with her, which what he was going to do before the car accident, by the way. He actually felt bad about what he was doing. But me personally, I just believe in the heart wants what it wants. Not saying that anyone deserves to get hurt or anything like that. I felt like with him and Peyton, it wasn't intentional. The only reason why people think it was intentional is because it happened twice with Brooke. I'm not even talking about Lindsay. Lindsay is a non-factor. That was gonna Lucas and Peyton were gonna get together, no matter if people liked it or not, by season 5. That was inevitable. To me, I feel like keep it the same as season 1. when Lucas left and when he came back, he should have been interested in. I think him and Brooke should have been a couple for just one season. I feel like looking back at season 3, I feel like what made me just like and just made me like groan is because the writers decided to have him and Brooke go at it again for the second time. It honestly felt like it was the third time because all of season 2 they were just teasing him and Brooke. Like, it honestly felt like this was the third time they were trying to do this. I feel like in season 2 you have him and Brooke date. That's it. You have them date. The storyline that him and Brooke had in season 3 should have been the storyline in season 2. Have them date. Brooke leaves for the summer. Her and Lucas break up. Lucas and Peyton hook up. They start dating, and now they have to figure out how they're going to tell Brooke. Boom, there you go. That is what should have happened. It should have not taken 4 seasons for them to become a couple. I feel like it would have been better if it was I'm talking too fast. I would have liked the storyline a lot better if it would have happened. I don't want to say liked. I feel like they were just testing our patience and seeing how long can Leyton shippers hang on until the moment finally happens, which I'm not mad at. Love stories take time. Things take time. Feelings take time. Admitting that you love with somebody, all of it takes time. Not mad about that. But me, I was just tired of Lucas and Brooke. I really was. I was over it by like season 3. I was over it. And to me, I feel like if I was writing the show, I would have had Peyton and Lucas realize that they have feelings all along, and now they're dating, and now they got to figure out how they're going to tell Brooke in season 3. No cheating involved. No cheating. The only reason why it might still hurt is because it was Brooke's ex. But honestly, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm gonna keep saying it. Brooke knew what it was way before she was in the picture. She knew they had feelings for each other, and that's it. I don't see the toxicity there. People who say they don't deserve their happy ending deep down after all the things they've done. They didn't kill nobody. They didn't rape nobody. They didn't do none of that shit. Okay, Brooke got hurt. That's high school shit. Get the fuck over it. That's what I say. Get over it. That's high school shit. You knew what you and Lucas had wasn't anything that meant anything anyway. Well, I wouldn't say it didn't mean anything. It wasn't anything that was gonna last anyway. So, like, the fact that you're still hanging on to something that happened 4 years ago, it's like, get over it, bruh. Like, get over it. I just find it hard to believe that someone hangs on to a high school heartbreak for 4 years. For 4 years. Come on now. Come the fuck on. Now, I understand that the shit that Lucas put her through probably made Brooke more insecure when it came to relationships. Understand that. Like I said, I find it hard to believe that someone hangs on to a high school heartbreak for 4 years. That's all I'm saying. I think that's a bit absurd. Because I know damn sure I wouldn't hang on to that. I wouldn't. And if you are, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to be mean to anyone's pain or anything like that. To me personally, I just find it hard to believe that someone will hang on to 4 years to a high school breakup. To me, in my opinion. Me personally, I just find it hard to believe where the toxicity is at. In my opinion, that they didn't deserve a happy ending because what? Because they what? They might have done. They would have. They what? Because they went out some things a little bit wrong. Well, if that's the case, then no one in the show deserves a happy ending. Okay then, shut the fuck up. Everyone in the show has latches and has skeletons in their closet. No one in the show is perfect. I am so tired of people acting like the characters that they like are these perfect little nuns and try to constantly bury the characters that they don't like because they want to keep their characters safe. No, Brooke ain't safe, Haley ain't safe, Nathan ain't safe. At the end of the day, none of them were as horrible as Dan. So get the fuck out of here. Cheating is not as bad as killing somebody, in my opinion. Cheating is bad. Don't get me wrong, cheating is bad. But me personally, if I knew that my friend had a thing for this guy that I dated and they have always been feeling each other, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? What? Just be real for a minute and ask yourself that. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? Their intention was to never hurt Brooke. Was to never hurt her. It was never hurt her, but it happened anyway. I get it. It happened anyway. It doesn't matter. The hurt happened. At the end of the day, when you've been hurt by somebody, it is your job to rather sink or swim with it. You're gonna let the hurt that you've been through determine your whole life. That's the problem with people. People like to be in the dark. People like to be in the darkness. No one likes to let themselves up no more. Life is hard, but I tend to look at the optimistic side of shit every single day. Every single day. Brooke chose to live in the hurt, even though she knew all the inevitable stuff. Now the pagan shit, that's different. The shit that she went through is way different than heartbreak. Come on, way different than the shit that Brooke went through. Brooke, the adult Brooke, I like adult Brooke storylines. High school Brooke, I feel like Brooke was really male-centered in high school, but no one wants to talk about that. Brooke was very male-centered. She tended to abandon Peyton a lot because of the guys that she was interested in. But I'm not ready for that. And much as I do love Peyton and Brooke's friendship, there were certain times where Brooke kind of abandoned her, specifically in like season 2 because of Felix. Come on now. She got with a guy who used her for his sexual pleasure and tried to turn that into a real relationship. But yeah, y'all coming down on my girl Peyton like she's the worst ever since she's the worst thing since acting like she's the worst person ever. No. Her and Lucas are not the worst people ever. They're not the worst characters on the planet. They're not none of that. Can they have went at things better? Fuck yes. All 3 of them could have. But at the end of the day, they were young, they were stupid, and it is what it is. When you're young, you do stupid things. Not saying that should be excusable, but yet you do stupid things. At the end of the day, it's all about owning your shit. And I feel like her and Lucas have always owned it. They've owned the fact that they went at things terrible. They apologize for their transactions. What else the fuck do you want? I don't know what the fuck to tell you. I apologized, I cried, I did everything. I begged for your forgiveness. If you're not willing to forgive me, then leave me alone. If you don't want nothing to do with me, then leave me alone. Leave me alone. People tend to get on Peyton a lot when it's like, man, I got something on Hill topics. Y'all about to be flabbergasted. I just think it's absurd. I think it's just really absurd to put Lucas and Peyton on this list because they are by far the least toxic couple ever on television. If you think just because they're toxic because of how they went at things, then you really have not seen a toxic couple, a toxic relationship. Damon and Leyton are more toxic than them. No, not when you say more than them, because they would have to be toxic to be considered toxic more than them. Which Lucas and Peyton are not toxic. They're nowhere near a toxic relationship. That was a love story about strictly love, yearning, waiting patiently, and not knowing what everyone already knew. That was inevitable. Peyton waited, I don't want to say like a pick me kind of way, but like she dated other people. I feel like what I mean by wait is that no one ever considers the fact that she had to stand by and watch Lucas have these terrible relationships with all these other females, and the person he should have been with was standing right there. Same thing with Lucas. He could have been with Peyton a long time ago if he would have had just realized that it was her all along. But he was trying to buy himself into thinking that him and Brooke are meant to be, or were meant to be, or whatever the fuck he's trying to sell himself on. Him and Brooke, they thought they were meant to be, and it was just like, no. Damon and Leyton are definition of a toxic ass relationship. Lucas and Peyton are not. So stop saying that. Let the haters. I can kiss my ass. I can lick my butthole. I don't care what y'all want to do. I am just tired of the Leyton hate. I'm tired of the Lucas and Peyton hate. I don't know. There are characters that I'm going to defend whenever someone says something that I just think is not true. So be ready for it. I don't give a fuck how y'all feel. If you're not a Leyton shipper, don't watch my channel. Don't watch it. And MsMojo, what you just posted on that video, I'm not fucking with it. I left the comment underneath it. Putting Lucas and Peyton on the list is diabolical. And you know it. You did that to get a trend. You did that to get views. Get the fuck out of here. An article couples on that list, they did not deserve to be there. I would say Chuck and Blair deserve to be there a lot more than now. And I love Chuck and Blair. But we can't deny that they have their toxic moments. We can't be delusional here. Lucas and Peyton, get the fuck out of here. What? I would like to say that scene in season 5 was a toxic scene. Get the fuck out of here. Bye. Go sell that shit to somebody who gonna read it. Cause Ashley Bertrand ain't gonna read it. Get the fuck out of here. They're one of the least toxic relationships I've ever seen on television. They would have to be considered a toxic relationship to be a toxic relationship, and they're not a toxic relationship. Her and Lucas have way more healthy moments in the relationship than Fitz and Olivia in Scandal. Get the fuck out of here. Her and Lucas was a love story about yearning, about passion, emotional connection, having beautiful moments. It was really a love story about not knowing who, basically, the person who you're meant to be with is standing right in front of you, but yet y'all just can't see it because y'all are distracted by other things. Like, think about it. A beautiful love story. I think they deserved a happy ending considering what the writers put my girl Peyton through and Lucas. They deserved it. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. They deserved it. Lucas and Peyton are not toxic, and I'm tired of people trying to drag them, and it's just like, I need to shut the fuck up at this point. Like, get over it. They were endgame. Get over it. They deserve to be endgame more than anybody on that show. So, good night. I just had to make this video because seeing that on MsMojo really, and when I mean really, really pissed me off. Leyton is my favorite relationship ever. It is honestly my favorite OTP relationship, and I'm not gonna have the disrespect. Anyway, I know I went on some side rants before I got to the point, but honestly, y'all, look, there'll be more One Tree Hill topics discussing. More One Tree Hill videos discussing this topic. So don't be mad, because I'll have more in the future. Y'all have a good night and stay safe.